Hey, it's Maddie.
And it's Caressa.
You're not watching the Disney Channel right now.
You're listening to
Dreadfully Twisted.
I went in late on that. That was my fault. My brain's not working right now, or today, or ever.
Ever. Same.
It's been a struggle today. Today was a very, long day at work. We threw my coworker, a baby sprinkle for her baby that she's going to be having soon. So we were, doing that, all day. So I was
Really?
just, so tired from planning that and everything.
Yeah.
But it was fun. We had Chick-fil-A for lunch.
Did you?
Yeah.
No paranormal updates.
No, I don't remember if I checked last night for anything, but I'll check right now. Which I've been really sad about. I'm like, come on, show me yourself.
Yeah.
Show me stuff.
Need some paranormal updates. I don't know if you guys can hear Charlie Brown, but he is meowing. Yeah, I seen. Also, Steve forgot to say hi, so Steve says hi, everybody.
Oh yeah, Steve says hi.
Yeah. He forgot to introduce him. It's okay. Our third member.
He's new.
Yeah, he's new here.
He's new and shy. That's okay.
Yes. We love you, Steve.
We do.
He came to listen.
Yeah, he did. He's like, I want to hear some ghost stories.
Yeah.
He's like, tell me them stories.
Let's hear 'em.
If you haven't guessed, we're doing spooky stories today.
Spooky stories and one true crimey story.
I think I might have true crime one, but I'm not sure. But I'm excited.
This one was it's the first one that I did, and it's a listen to your gut because things could be terribly wrong type situation.
I like to hear those types of things, where, have you ever seen, okay, this is just a random thing, but have you ever seen, videos on people saying, mother's instinct?
Oh, yeah.
And, stuff like that,
yeah.
Their mom would be like, don't do this, and then they did it, and, something bad happened.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's so crazy. So I want to hear those stories. So if you have any of those stories, please share them with us. I would like to hear them.
Yes.
And if you're okay with us sharing it as well,
let us know. Email us or message us on our platforms. We love you. Okay. Anything else we need to?
I don't think so.
address? We're on Apple Podcasts now.
Oh yeah, we're on Apple Podcasts. All the episodes are on there, so you can go there and check it out.
Woo!
Which I had 3 people tell me that they're happy that on there now. One of my coworkers was like, I'm so happy you're on Apple now. She's like, I can actually listen to you now.
Aww.
And I was just like, okay. So yeah, we're on there.
I had someone ask me also if we were on there.
I was
like,
also trying to make a Twitter,
Uh-huh.
but it was not letting me because it said the email was in use.
Really?
But it's not in use because it was logging into my personal Twitter, and it's not connected. So I have to figure that out. I don't know what's going on with it. Because I was going to make a Twitter because some people like that. I mean, it's called X or whatever, but I was going to make a Twitter. That way, we could, post on there too, but it's not letting me because technology hates me, I guess.
We can always try with our Gmail too.
I'm ready.
Okay. This one was from Reddit.
Okay.
I just love Reddit stories. I really do. I go on there for half of my spooky stories because it's actual people just telling what happened to them, genuinely.
That's why we have a Reddit, so go on the Reddit and comment your stories, please, so we can read your spooky stories.
We love you. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Which is r/Dreadfully Twisted Pod on Reddit, so please go there or email us dreadfullytwistedpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your stories. Okay, now we're gonna start for real. After 8 minutes of talking of nonsense.
This one's sad. And
okay.
It's also terrifying at the same time because holy crap. Okay.
Okay. I'm ready. Snappling.
It is snappling. I always parked in a certain spot at my last job for 12 years that I was there. It was accessible to the public as it wasn't company parking, but they wanted us to park in the back of the lot so the closer spots could be available for customers. One day, my spot was taken by a dark tinted caddy, and I'm immediately pissed because everyone knows it's mine. It's morning shift, so 4 a.m., so it can be one of the others because I know it can't be one of the others because I know what they drive. So maybe a newbie, or maybe another employee from another shop in the plaza. It's still there on my lunch break, and when I go home the next day, I come in at 1 p.m. till close, around 9:30, and then also the next. Something about it really bothered me. It smelled wrong. Literally, it's the South and high summer, and who knows what's baking in there. My dad was a Marine, than a police officer. He always said if you feel something is wrong, there probably is. So I dialed the non-emergency contact police number. I felt like an idiot, but every time I walked by, it bugged me. So I was stuck waiting for over an hour before anyone shows, and honestly, if I hadn't been off the next day, would have been like, F it. But I waited, mostly because I can be a really petty SOB, and that's my spot.
I feel that, though. I feel that so hard. If anybody takes my spot at work, I'm like, seriously? It's my spot. I've been working here for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's so mad.
Seniority.
But this also reminded me of something that I'm going to tell you after you read the story that actually is at my work right now.
Oh my gosh.
But I'll tell you.
Yeah. The police show, all annoyed because who knows how many, quote, they can't park here calls they get. They run the license plate through and then things go crazy. They want my info, want me to contact my manager, ask, does this lot have cameras, asked if I had touched their car, etc.
Oh.
Apparently, the car is on an Amber Alert as the last sighting of a missing person who was a minor.
Oh my god.
A 15-year-old girl. When they pop the trunk, they find her dead, mutilated body under a blanket and the source of the smell. She had gone out with her much older, controlling and insecure boyfriend, but had decided to get out of the relationship. She only made the mistake of getting into the car with him. He drove 3 counties over after torturing her, stuffing her in there, and who knows what else. Then parked and walked away, left her to die in the trunk. I never learned her time of death, so it haunts me sometimes thinking she might have been saved if I'd made a fuss earlier. So yeah, listen to your gut, even if it seems petty.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I got so many chills.
That's literally terrifying. I'd be like, yeah, I quit.
Yeah, I'd quit after that.
Time to go get therapy.
Okay, now that's making me second guess myself. So I have been noticing this car that's been outside my work, outside my work window. It's in the it's in the parking lot next to our building, but it's been parked there since probably like last year around this time.
Oh God.
The sunroof has been open, the driver's side window has been down, and they have a flat tire.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been sitting there in the same exact spot for a year.
Oh my God.
And I like totally forgot about it because like I'll look over like a couple times.
Yeah.
But there's trees in the way now because it's summer.
Mm-hmm.
So like I just haven't thought about it. And then my coworker, she came up to me and she was like, "Is that a car with a flat tire?" And then it made me remember it. I was like, "Oh yeah, that car's been sitting there for like a year."
Yeah.
So now I'm like, should I call the police or something? Because what if there's a dead body in that?
Well, this story doesn't help that case.
But I've been like thinking about it the last couple of days because she mentioned it to me like 2 days ago, and I was like, oh yeah. And then today my other coworker, she's like, oh yeah, there's that car there, and I was like, yeah, it's been sitting there for like a year. And like everybody was staring out the window. I'm like, okay, maybe we should do something. I mean, it's been sitting here for a year. Now I'm like, what? Like I don't know.
I mean, as long as there's no weird smells coming from it, I think you should
I've never walked over there, but I can see it. It's like a Mercedes-Benz too, so like why would somebody just leave their car sitting there?
Yeah.
If it was a Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, that's a nice car.
Yeah, it's like expensive too. I don't know.
Weird.
That's what reminded me of that. So I totally forgot about it because that tree's like in the way now. So I'm just like, okay. Did that one have a name for the story?
No.
Okay, because this one does. So the name of this one is The Hippie Stared at My Brother.
Oh.
This true event occurred back when I was in high school at a house my parents were renting in Houston, Texas back in the early 1980s. One day, my brother, Joel, and I were home alone while my parents were out. I was sitting on the couch watching TV while my brother was asleep in his bedroom. To better understand how creepy this event was first, you must know that there was a lot of weird things that had been happening in the house. We would see shadows move out of the corners of your eyes at times and hear footsteps when no one was there. Next door to our house was a burned-out home where the woods and weeds had grown over it from years of neglect. On that particular summer day, while I was watching TV, my brother walked out of his room and a strange look on his face, and he told me, "Keep your friends out of my bedroom." I knew he had been asleep, so I told him, "Go back to sleep, dude. You're dreaming. No one else is here but you and me." But he insisted that a young guy in his teens with long blonde hair, wearing clothes from the 60s tie-dyed shirt, was standing in his bedroom doorway when he woke up. He continued and said that the guy said nothing. He just nodded his head at him as to silently say, "Yeah, I see you too," and then just vanished. We both walked out of the house, but no one else was there, just my brother and I. The next day, while I was cutting our lawn, I stopped for a few minutes to talk with our other neighbor across the fence and happened to mention the weird things going on in the event that my brother saw the day before. After describing what the teen looked like, my neighbor turned pale and pointed to the house that burned down next to us and told me that when he was a kid in the late 60s, a young kid burned up in the house next door to us that fit that description. I felt chills run down my back for years until we finally moved away. Unexplained strange things would happen in and around the house, like door slamming and the TVs turning off and on its own. It all stopped when we moved away.
Oh my god.
That gave me chills.
That's terrifying.
And that's like awful.
I know. That's crazy.
Wow. That's freaky.
My timbers would be absolutely shivered.
They are.
Yeah. The timbers have been shivered.
It's all gonna go up from here.
Oh, yeah. Have a little audience member, Pearl. Okay, this one's super short, but...
Okay.
My uncle was in a bar one night and started talking to this random guy. He described him as, quote, a really nice guy. He met him a few other times in the same bar. They drank and talked about random stuff. Soon after, my uncle stopped seeing the guy at the bar. I don't know how long after, but my uncle got notified that he had jury duty. He showed up and found out what it was for. A serial killer, and the killer was his friend from the bar.
What?
Yeah.
I wonder what serial killer it was.
Derek Todd Lee.
I've never heard of him.
Which is the Baton Rouge serial killer.
I've never heard of him. I've
heard of him before, but I didn't dig into that case. Crazy.
Just imagine you become friends with a serial killer.
I know.
Like, what are the chances?
From 1998 to 2003, he terrorized the areas surrounding Baton Rouge and Lafayette, Louisiana.
Oh.
He killed multiple women. Yeah.
Not a good guy.
No.
Maybe we'll cover him.
Yeah. He's also dead now. We can cut that out if we're going to.
Oh. It's fine.
Yeah. He said my uncle was promptly dismissed from jury duty for obvious reasons.
Oh, yeah, because that's,
yeah.
What is it? Conflict of interest.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Just took my brain a second to connect. So, my next one is called Possible Airbnb Ghost? ? I don't like Airbnbs. They freak me out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything freaks me out now.
Same. For real, though. This incident happened just this morning, 6/9 of 2024, around 6. I really don't know if it was anything paranormal, but it sure was awfully strange. This is going to be pretty lengthy, and the story itself isn't scary, so I just wanted to clarify this first before we proceed. This weekend, my father and I took a trip to Deerfield Beach, Florida for a family event on Saturday. We were given an Airbnb that was initially booked by an uncle-in-law, but he decided to stay somewhere else and gave the room to us. His wife, my aunt, actually stayed in this particular Airbnb one time before, but on the opposite side, as it had a ranch-style duplex home. My father and I first arrived late Friday evening. We checked out the place and nothing seemed out of the ordinary, so we proceeded to bring in our luggage. The house had an open plan. As soon as you walk in, you are immediately in the living room and a little past the kitchen area. Off to the right side of the living room are 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and what look like 2 small closet doors. One of the bedrooms is on the far right of the hall, and opposite to that is on the left side is the other bedroom. The bathroom is on the left side of the hall, and immediately... I read that already. Didn't I? No. I read the bedroom. Okay, so the bathroom is on the left side of the hall, and immediately after that is one of the bedrooms that I just mentioned. The bathroom and this bedroom have a door between them, so you can actually open this door and immediately walk in between them. Remember the details about this bedroom and the bathroom, as they will be important later on. The room I chose was a back bedroom and the smallest of the 3. It was further past the kitchen area, but it was right next to the door that leads to the backyard, and the room itself had a window view directly into the backyard. I don't like that. I don't like that.
No.
No, thank you.
No, thank
Shut
you.
the curtains and don't see anything.
Absolutely not.
There is a jacuzzi and a little patio area in the backyard, but we never ended up going back there. My father had initially chosen one of the front bedrooms on the left, the one that will be mentioned later, but he didn't trust sleeping in that bed, so he just decided to sleep on one of the long couches in the living room. During our entire stay, everything was pretty chill and nothing was out of the ordinary. Long story short, after the family event Saturday, my father and I went to the restaurant and then came back later on that night. It was sometime after 10 p.m. when we got back, and he told me that one of my uncles and one of his daughters was coming over for a visit for a bit. I was so sleepy that I pretty much knocked out instantly. I didn't even get a chance to see them when they came over. I woke up at some time after 4 going on 5 a.m. I laid in bed for a while, and then shortly after I started browsing my phone. After about an hour, I had to use the bathroom. I got up, and while I was walking through the kitchen area, I noticed that my dad was knocked out, heavy on the couch. I did my business, then went back to bed, browsing at my phone again. I hadn't heard any noise or any sign of my father being up. About an hour later, I had to use the bathroom again. As I walked out of my room and into the kitchen area, I immediately saw a light shining, so I thought I left the bathroom light on. But when I went around the corner, I saw the back bedroom light is on, and at first I was like, WTF? My father was still on the couch in the living room, knocked out cold, snoring as loud as can be, so I know he was in a deep sleep. I know my uncle and his daughter came by last night, so at first I thought maybe they spent the night. I looked in the room and the light was on as well as the one immediately across from it, and noticed that no one was in there. I immediately found this strange and I was a bit confused. I already had my phone in hand, so I took a video of it for evidence. Then, reluctantly, tried to wake my father up. He was in a deep sleep and snoring loudly, so I hated to even bother him, but I just had to know why the light was on. I started lightly tapping on his hand. Around the same exact time, I thought I heard a very light, faint hum-like sound coming from that bedroom, and it sounded like a female voice. No, leave, get out of there. No. I immediately got startled, and I tried to rationalize it as me being on a high alert. It was also around the same time that I noticed that it was ice cold in the whole area. No, God, just leave. And I'm already familiar with that feeling due to past experiences. The AC was running at the time, but it was just a very eerie feeling in the atmosphere. Again, I tried to attribute it to the fact that I was already slightly on edge and tried not to assume anything paranormal. Nonetheless, the light was on for some reason. My father finally woke up. I told him, "Hey, Dad, I didn't mean to wake you up, but why is that light on in the room?" He was completely out of it and said that he might have gotten up and just forgot that he left the light on. He promptly went back to sleep. As out of it he was, I knew for a fact he had been up any time recently. In fact, I would have at least heard someone moving around the house in these tile floors, and given the fact that it's pretty much an open plan setup. I walked over to the room and tried to turn off the light by the 2 pad switches I saw, but neither worked. I saw the remote control for the light and fan, so I had to use that to turn off the light, which made that even more strange. I was completely weirded out by that and didn't know what to think. I went back to my room and tried to get out of my mind. By this time, it was already daybreak and the sun was slightly out. I lay there for a while, eventually getting sleepy. Before dozing back off, I went back out to check on things and saw that the light hadn't come back on. But there was this undeniably cold sensation throughout the part of the house. I checked all of the rooms in the area but saw nothing, so went back to my room. When I got slightly past the kitchen area, I felt an eerie sensation, but again, I attributed it to the fact that I was already being on edge, so I tried not to entertain it. I eventually settled down and dozed off. I awakened sometime maybe 2 hours later. When I woke up, I promptly checked the house again. I noticed it was still ice cold and my father was still asleep. He awakened maybe another hour as I heard him go to the bathroom and start showering. After he came out, we greeted each other and I began to tell him about the whole scenario. It was around this time I noticed the ice cold sensation had finally gone. We talked about it and he said that he might have gotten up and just forgot the light was on, but he couldn't remember doing it. We had to check out by 11, so we were starting to get our things prepared. The remaining time we were there passed by without incident, thankfully. I really and truly don't know what to make of that, what happened, but it was pretty strange. Oh, they attached the video. Let me go to this. Let me go to there. Yeah, no, I'm gonna say this. You experienced something paranormal for definitely. Sure. If you got a feeling and you felt like, oh no, my pop socket just broke.
No!
You gotta be kidding me.
So depressing. I'm so sad. Oh.
Okay, but here's the video. Yeah. That was definitely something paranormal that you just experienced, and I can't believe my pop socket just broke.
Was it paranormal?
Oh no, I fixed it. It just popped off.
Oh, good.
I was gonna say, it was definitely paranormal. I'm getting haunted here. Like, but no, that was definitely, because whenever we did that spirit box at my house and we both got that cold feeling, it went away after a while. But yeah, that was definitely a paranormal experience. Mm-hmm. And something was definitely there.
Oh yeah,
trying to mess with you. Because it does that. They do that.
Yes, they do. This next story is literally terrifying, and it's one of my worst fears ever, because if this ever happens to me, I would just cry, scream, throw up, and then move out of the country.
Oh.
All of those.
All of the above.
Yeah. It was about 4 years ago. It wasn't the first paranormal occurrence to happen, just the one that scared me the most. One night, my 2.5-year-old son woke my husband and I up when he crawled into our bed. I couldn't fall back asleep, so I decided to work on a project in my craft room. I was in there for about 45 minutes when the small monitor to the nanny cams started rapidly flickering on and off. First of all, no.
No. Leave. Burn the house down. Leave. It's done. It's done there.
Just nope.
Go.
Just run while you can.
Nope, right out of there.
Mind you, these were not motion sensor cams.
Oh.
Only continuous feed.
No.
Yeah. The cams are in the living room and our son's room. I went over to the monitor and picked it up. It all of a sudden made this loud, ear-piercing sound like a mic feedback. It startled me and I dropped the monitor face down. I noticed the glow around the edges had stopped flickering. I picked up the monitor and turned to look at the screen. I saw my son standing still as a statue in the middle of the living room, staring at the wall. Nope.
I'm never gonna have kids. I'm never having kids if they're gonna do this to me.
Absolutely not. Just leave the kid. Don't actually, but run out of the house, save yourself. He's possessed.
I'm dying.
He's possessed.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
No, but seriously, I am scared to have kids because of that.
I know.
They act creepy. I don't want them to act creepy.
I know. That's literally straight out of a horror movie.
Like, I acted creepy when I was younger. So, like, I don't want that to happen.
Oh God. If my kid starts staring at the wall, I'm sorry, but I might have to put them up for adoption.
I would just put a circle of salt around them, like Supernatural, and then spray them with holy water. If they're fine, then okay, they're not possessed.
Sage the house,
Sage them.
Yeah. Bring in the exorcist, everything. That's funny.
Okay, rehinging.
Rehinging.
I'm not dying.
I started for the door with the monitor still in my hand. When I glanced down again, my son's head turned.
No.
And his eyes went directly to the camera in the upper corner of the room. He had no expression on his face at all. No. Nope, right out of there.
I have no words.
I left the room and went through the small kitchen and dining room, rounded the corner to the living room, and it was empty.
Wait, what?
He wasn't there.
So she saw him on the camera.
Yeah, on the
and
monitors.
Then he wasn't.
But he wasn't there.
I freaked out.
And he was looking at the camera. Timbers.
My eyes are watering. Why? That freaks me out.
It's because the timbers have been shivered.
God, is there more?
Yeah.
What the heck?
The door to our bedroom was on the other side. I went in there and my son was sound asleep in the same position he was in when I left.
Mimic.
My husband looked up from his e-reader. I asked him if he had woken up and went to the living room. He told me no. I asked if my husband had gotten up to go to the bathroom or the kitchen, thinking maybe he just didn't see our son try to follow him. But husband swears he hasn't left the bed at all, and our son has been peacefully snoring away the whole time. Like I said before, this wasn't the first time we had seen doppelgangers, but it was always so brief that you didn't really have time to get scared or have it completely register yet. This was different. It wasn't just a glimpse. Above all, it was the look on my son's face, that empty void stare. When he turned his head to face the camera, still even now typing it gives me the chills.
That gives me the chills hearing that. And like I said, it's either a doppelganger or it's a mimic.
Yeah.
No.
Which is why I would cry, scream, throw up, and then leave the country.
I would too. I would too.
Yeah.
Valid.
I cannot. That's literally one of my biggest fears, seeing like a mimic or a doppelganger. I can't. I would literally like every single bone in my body would be shivered. The timbers would be shivered.
Yeah, and like I also that would be the most terrifying thing. That, and like I said, kids acting strange with like paranormal stuff.
Yep.
But like mimics and stuff are even worse with me. And like it's funny, the podcast that I do listen to, right after we like our last episode of like stories where we did about mimics and stuff, that person that I listened to the podcast of, people were starting to see mimics of her in her house, and I was like, no, like. And I'm like, I don't think they know about that, but like they were talking about it on the like their podcast, and I was just like, nope,
right out of there.
Freaks me out.
Can't. Terrifying.
Just freaky, because like, how can something possess like the image of somebody? Like, how can they just be somebody else, but they're not that person? That's what freaks me out.
I know. It's scary.
Okay. Okay. So here's another one. It's kind of short, but it's called Unexplained Pillow Tapping. In the past week, I have begun hearing... Oh God, let me restart that.
Talking is hard.
Talking is so hard. In the past week, I have begun hearing a very odd tapping sound coming from under my pillow, something like a finger tapping, but with a popping quality. At first, I assumed it was an inner ear muscular spasm, but my wife has been experiencing this on and off for nearly 2 years. She kept quiet about it until it started keeping her awake at night. It usually starts with a single tap, then a quick burst of 3, followed by another 3, and can continue for long periods. At times, it seems like it's coming from the inner ear, but then it's clearly coming from under the pillow. My wife has heard it loudly next to her on the bed. There has been loud knocks and taps on the room's walls, doors, and other objects. My initial thought which was always worked with intrusive paranormal activity in the past, was to speak aloud, telling whatever it is to please be quiet so we can sleep. This seemed to work for a night, but back with a vengeance last night. I have to head to work soon, and I didn't get more than a collective couple of hours of sleep. I understand that rearranging the room for whatever reason can sometimes help, but I hope someone on here has experienced something similar and knows how to make this phenomenon cease. My wife and I experienced a few paranormal occurrences in this room, everything from a loud, complex ticking that I've written about, to shadow figures and disembodied voices. Unlike those incidents, this one didn't seem to want to stop. Luckily, we will be away for the next 4 nights, but any ideas or theories will be much appreciated.
Oh my God.
It's paranormal.
Oh yeah.
Because if you've seen shadow figures and heard disembodied voices, I'm sorry, but your house is haunted. You just gotta move. Just move so you can sleep. This is why I wear earplugs.
Yeah.
While I sleep, so I don't hear anything. Because I don't want to hear creepy stuff.
This one's kind of short. This one is true crimey one.
Ooh.
Yeah. Mixing it a little. Well, here's my story. When I was a little kid, around 5 or 6, we had this neighbor who was like a grandma to me. I'd go over and have snacks, and she'd had a Mr. Potato Head that I played with. That was her now adult son's toy. Weird core memory. He came home in his 20s from the army, I think. I don't remember much about him, but he asked about taking my older brothers camping, but my mom said no. She had a weird feeling about him. Side note, we lived out in the country, not even a town, just a place. There were no locked doors. Everyone trusted each other. My mom saw him at our little store with bee stings all over and was concerned. He said he got them at the creek. She thought that was weird because that's not a thing where we went all the time, but okay. A little while later, not sure how long, the news said there was a murder of some campers out past where we lived. No leads. People were shocked. This doesn't happen here. My mom remembered her weird feeling and the bee stings that didn't make sense. She called the police to say, hey, probably nothing, but here's what I got. I remember detectives coming to our house to talk to her. They had some other evidence that matched, but not enough to link him to the murder, which was a couple with their child. It's unsolved to this day, though the detective said he knew it was him.
I hate that.
A few years later, the guy went to prison for an abduction/attempted murder of a woman who ran out of gas, and he offered her a ride. She lived, thank God.
That's good.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
That is terrifying.
Thank God he got put away.
Yeah. Okay, I found one. This one's, I've just like quickly read, it's kind of long, but I feel like it's scary. Okay, so it's called Ghosts Waking Me Up. I never want that.
No, me either.
That's why I wear earplugs while I sleep. And a face mask so I can't see anything.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple of years ago, I mentioned there was a girl's voice I would sometimes hear in my bedroom. And if you've been following my stories, this would probably make this a continuation. Over the years, I've kind of developed a sixth sense and been able to see beyond. As stated in my previous stories, I heard a little girl speak to me, but never really saw or fully spoke to her until this event. One early morning, as I was slowly waking up, but still a bit sleepy, I noticed my alarm clock didn't go off. Normally, I would always wake up to the sound of my alarm to get ready for work, but sometimes I naturally wake up and lay down for a bit until it goes off. That morning, I decided to close my eyes and rest a little. As I was resting, I felt a presence on my bed, as if someone was resting on the side. In my mind's eye, I could see a little girl with blonde hair tied back smiling at me. No.
No, absolutely not.
She was on the floor by the bedside, and her arms were folded, placed upon the bedside, and her head was resting on her arms, looking at my face with adoration. She spoke in the same voice I recognized those years ago. And then she said, "I think you really should get up now." I mumbled, "No, let me sleep." She responded with a cheeky smile, "No, I think you really, really, really should get up now," speaking with confidence that she knew something was going to happen. In my head, I thought, why on earth would I be having such a conversation? Was this a dream? It felt like this was a warning of some sort. Still half asleep, I slowly opened my eyes and quickly got up to see if she was there, but she was gone. I got a bit weirded out, but felt happy. Suddenly, the alarm clock goes off. Just seconds after the dreamlike conversation, perfect timing. That morning, I kept thinking if it was really just my imagination or a daydream, but I really did appreciate her waking me up just seconds before my alarm clock would go off. As I write this, I notice the side of my bed is a bit lopsided, as if something has left an impression, like someone has been resting on the side of my bed for a very long time on a regular basis.
Nope.
Move out.
Yeah. Move out, please.
Okay, there's a couple more paragraphs. A couple of months later, on another morning around early spring, I had woken up to the sound of someone in my household turning the shower on in the bathroom. I didn't take much notice as this was a regular occurrence, and so I slowly went back to sleep. Okay, somebody just turns on your shower, and then you're like, oh, it's just normal. It's just my ghost. I'm just gonna go back to sleep. I'm sorry, but no.
Yeah, I would have been out of there.
I had a dream, and in the dream, I was an I can't say that word. Archaeologist, whatever.
Archaeologist?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Talking is hard.
Talking is hard.
I can't say some words. I had this conversation earlier with somebody at work. Digging up something, and in the dream, I seen little bits of paper with writing on it and noticed my name materialize on the paper. And then I heard my name being called out to me again. The voice kept repeating my name over and over again. Realizing I've had such an experience before meant that someone was trying to wake me up. Much to my annoyance, I willed myself awake and looked at my surroundings. No one was there in my room, but I could still hear the shower turn on as water was sporadically hitting the floor. I thought it was bizarre for my mind to conjure up such a scenario, as I've had this happen to me twice, only for someone to be there waking me up to see nobody was there. Bizarre. I rested my head as I laid down. "Jack," I suddenly heard a man say my name loud and clearly in my right ear. It startled me. My heart began to race and I got scared, and then my fear turned to angry. I called out one of the names of the people I live with, but I got no answer. I looked at my bedroom door, still hearing the shower from the bathroom. This gave me comfort. I guess they didn't hear me. I slowly rested my head, this time wide awake. The fact that a disembodied man's voice kept saying my name to wake me up really freaked me out. I really don't want to experience that again. If there's ways to stop that, I really hope readers can comment and let me know. I'd much rather have the little girl wake me up, because that voice and the way it was trying to wake me up disturbed me. Sometimes I think maybe it's just an overactive imagination, but then again, I've experienced real things with others that didn't make sense before. I hope it's not something too bad. Yeah, I would not want to be woken up like that.
I would have been gone the first time. I would have been gone a long time ago.
And like, now that scares me, because like, I don't know, that just scares me, because I didn't really think that like could happen.
It is terrifying. A little terrifying. Or the Brit in me came out. I lived in a haunted apartment for 3 years. Braver than me. I would have been out before the first year was over.
Yeah.
I would like to state I'm a skeptic, and I tried everything to find out what I could to be reasonable. I said that wrong.
That's okay. I mean, I couldn't say archaeology. I can't even say it. Archaeology.
That word.
Yeah. So we're both fine.
Yeah.
The struggle is real.
It is real. I tried everything to find out what could be reasonable explanations for what was going on. One of the most frightening things that happened to me was one evening in my apartment where I lived alone. I had no animals, and I had just gotten into bed and reached to turn off the light. Before I even completely laid down, next to my bed was a heavy thump about shoulder level, and then something slid along the carpet and stopped about at the foot of the bed.
No.
Nope.
Leave. Move out.
Yeah. I laid there for a good 10 minutes, hyperventilating, terrified, unable to figure out what the hell that was. The only thing I could think that might sound like that was a heavy black floor pillow that was in my living room. Finally, I reached over and turned on the light. It looked like nothing was there. I finally got the nerve to give up.
To give up. I would give up at this point too.
That's not what that says.
That's what they should have done. They should have just gave up with the house.
I sure would have given up that house. It probably would have stopped the rest of the story from happening if he did. He probably could have moved out and just had,
a peaceful life.
Yeah, a peaceful life. But no, he stayed for 3 years.
Yeah.
What a soldier.
I mean, I've been in my house for 4 years, and now paranormal stuff is just starting to happen. Yeah. So, yeah, I can see it.
I finally got the nerve to get up, not gave up, turning on the lights as I went and walked into the living room. There was the pillow where it was supposed to be. I spent the next hour dropping that pillow next to my bed and pulling it along the carpet, hearing the exact same sound I heard when I first laid down. I was not asleep. I had not even completely laid down. I don't hallucinate, and to this day, I can't explain what that was. If it was a hallucination, for the first time in my life, it was an odd one. Other things were happening in the apartment, including my waking up with scratches, bruises, hearing whispers, having things move in front of me, tapping noises underneath my bed that would respond to my voice in EVPs. No.
And you stayed through that?
Absolutely
If
not.
I was ever touched or scratched in my house, I'm leaving.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm leaving. I'm sorry. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
More than one of these instances were witnessed by other people. You would think that some of the really crazy stuff would have been what scared me the most, but for some reason, that clear thump sliding sound right next to my bed, like it was just waiting for me to turn off the light to scare me, that freaked me out the most. Sometimes it's the simplest things that are the most unnerving.
But not being scratched.
Yeah. That would have been definitely the worst for me.
That's like so mind-boggling. I don't know. It's freaky.
It is.
So my next one is called Sinister Smile of a Black Ghost. Yeah, it's kind of long, so bear with me here for a second. This happened about 40 years ago. I'm 43 now, and since I was so young, I don't remember everything that has happened. So the first part I'll tell you is what I do remember. The rest is what I was told by my parents. My dad had been stationed at Fort Huachuca, Arizona, and while we were there waiting for military housing, we were staying at a motel. Sadly, I don't know where exactly the motel was, but I assume it was very close to Fort Huachuca. Sorry if I said that wrong, since that's where my dad had to work. It all started when my mom and I were getting ready to go to the swimming pool, and there at the motel, when she heard me saying in a loud voice, "Stop smiling at me." I was in her bedroom looking into the open closet, and there was a shelf, and there on the shelf in the closet, I could see a black man's face smiling down at me. His eyes were very white, as were his teeth. I remember the smile was very sinister, and I didn't like it. I wasn't afraid of it. I wasn't old enough to understand fear in that way yet, being only around 2 years old. My mom thought that there was someone in the room and called me to get to the pool with her, so I immediately followed her. She got the manager of the motel into the apartment and to check it out, but of course nobody was in there. After he had left and we finished our day at the pool, we went back inside and I went to her room again and started demanding the man stop smiling at me. This time my mom knew there was no one in the room because they had to check it. They had just checked it, and she came into the room to look. I pointed the man out in the closet but didn't see anything. Later, once my dad was back, he looked and he couldn't find anything either, even though I clearly could. Thinking I was making a face out of reflections or something they had stored in the closet, they tried moving things around, but I still saw that sinister smile on the back of the man's face. On the black man's face. Even my grandparents came to visit us, and I couldn't see it, but I could see him every time I went into that room. We moved into our new house on base. Thankfully, I didn't see the face there. From this point on, it's only what my parents told me I saw and spoke to them about. One day, we had driven to pick my dad up at his office building. It was late, but as I sat in the car, I pointed out a black man standing by the office. My mom looked and couldn't see anyone, but it was obvious she was concerned about it and tried hurrying up my dad so we can go home. The last time I saw him, at least what I'm told, was at a cemetery. My mom and I were walking around this old cemetery in the middle of the day looking at, I presume, old Civil War graves, and I told my mom, look, the black man fell down. My mom tried looking around, but we were the only two there. I was between 3 to 6 for the stories after the initial motel, though at the motel I could have been close to 3 as we lived there for only 3 years. My mom found it strange how I always described him as black man because as far as she knew, I have never met a real black man at this time. It's also noteworthy that my base my dad worked at was an old Buffalo soldiers' barracks during the Civil War. I never saw anything else like that after we moved. And even though I don't remember most of it, I can remember seeing him in the closet, just his head staring down at me with that sinister smile that haunts my memory still. I'm curious to see if anyone else has an experience like this down in Arizona around that area. I'd love to visit the area again, but if I could just see if I could see anything again, but I'm not sure. I'm sure I wouldn't. I think they meant like a black figure is what I was getting. Like a shadow figure. Because that would be freaky.
It would, yeah.
Especially if all you can see is just a smile and like eyes and the shadow figure. That's what I'm guessing is what it was. That's scary. I'll read a couple more.
Yeah.
Like maybe 2 more.
I have one that's kind of short. I have a longer.
Okay, yeah, you can go to those ones.
But up to this day, I'm still looking for a logical explanation to this. This happened in 2003. So an ex and I were checked in a coastal resort where the cottages were far apart, like 200 meters away, around 11:30 p.m. While we were both drinking beer. The lights turned off and only the TV was on. The doorknob suddenly rattled violently, like someone was forcibly trying to get it open. There was no double lock on the door, so my first reaction was jump from the bed and block the door with my weight. Force of my landing must have been heard from the other side, but the twisting of the doorknob continued. By this time, I was already pressing my face to the floor, trying to look/estimate how many people were outside the door via the small gap between the floor and the bottom of the door.
Oh.
There was nothing.
Oh.
Not a pair of feet or anything, but the doorknob kept rattling.
No.
Yeah, I'd be freaking out. I should point out that the gap between the floor and the door was enough for me to see the outside, or at the very least, notice any change in shadow/light caused by movement. But there was nothing. That's terrifying.
Oh my god, no.
The turning of the doorknob then stopped, but I never heard any footsteps or any other noise. I waited a few minutes and opened the door. Everything was quiet. No footprints outside or in the sand surrounding the cottage. We just noped out of there immediately.
That's what you're supposed to do.
We're proud of you. We've literally been saying nope out of there this whole time, and they literally wrote, we noped out of there immediately. We're proud of you. That's how it's done. That's how it's supposed to be done. Did you want to read any more, or do you want me to?
You can read whatever we have left, or whatever you want.
So, someone said, this story scared the majesty out of me. I've never heard that before. It made me laugh.
I love that.
I stayed up all night convinced Condi would come for me. Okay. So, this is called The Girl on Fire.
Oh.
Yeah. Back in 1908, it was called Alabama Girls Industrial School, and Condi Cunningham, that's a cute name, was one of the students who lived on the 4th floor of the main residence hall. Late one night, Condi and her friends were using a burner to make hot chocolate in her room. This was against the rules, but Condi and her friends were doing it anyway.
I love that.
They were all sitting on Condi's bed in their nightgowns when something accidentally knocked over the burner.
Oh no. I don't love that anymore.
No. The bed caught fire, and so did Condi Cunningham's nightgown. She began to panic and ran down the hallway screaming for help. Now, as most people know, running is the worst thing you can do when you're on fire. You're supposed to drop to the ground and roll around, but unfortunately, Condi didn't know that. She ran up and down the hallway screaming for help, and this only fanned the flames. The flames grew larger and larger, completely consuming her body. Her friends could only watch in horror as Condi finally collapsed and died.
Oh no.
Her body was burned to a crisp.
Oh.
Condi.
Yeah.
Ever since her death, Condi Cunningham's ghost had haunted the 4th floor of the old residence hall. Students living on that floor have reported hearing the horrifying screams of a girl echoing through the hallways. Others have heard footsteps running up and down the hall when no one is there. Some have even heard a girl's voice crying, "Help me."
Oh.
No. That makes me sad.
It does make me sad. It started out so, like, innocent, just making hot chocolate, and then it turned into a tragedy. That's so sad.
Late one night, a girl who was staying in Condi's old room heard noises outside her door. When she opened her door, she was shocked to see a fiery apparition running down the hallway. Its body burned and blackened as flames blazed around it like a human torch.
Oh.
When the girl went back to her room, she saw her bed was on fire. The next morning, she left the university and never returned. She noped out of there.
Out of there.
As she should. But poor Condi.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Of all the paranormal events that surrounded this girl on fire, the strangest is what happened to the wooden door of Condi's old room. Right after Condi's death, her friends said that they saw the image of Condi's burning face appear in the wood.
Oh.
That's crazy. That's literally crazy.
I would be so freaked out.
My timbers would... Wait, yeah, my timbers would be shivered. I almost said my shivers would be timbered.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I love that.
The school administrator had the door replaced, but Condi's face began appearing in the new door.
Oh my.
She said, "Y'all ain't allowed to forget me."
She's like, "I'm still here."
Yep. He said, "This is my room."
She's like, "Friends forever."
Yep. I'm gonna be here making my hot chocolate. Okay. I hope she's drinking all the hot chocolate her heart desires.
I hope so.
The girls were all so freaked out by this that eventually they just removed the door and put it in a storage room. Even today, Condi's room has no door, and none of the girls at Montevallo University will stay in the room, so it remains vacant. The students who live there today still swear that their doors open and close of their own accord, and some have sensed the presence of Condi's ghost coming into their room. Her ghost has even been known to go in the shower areas and scream her head off. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
That would give me literal trauma for the rest of my life.
I would just have a heart attack.
Yeah.
I would just die.
Same.
From fear.
The girls say that when she roams the hall, she doesn't do it quietly. She runs and screams through the halls as if she's still on fire. Yeah, that story scared the majesty out of me too, buddy.
That's so traumatizing and so sad.
I know.
She's just reliving it over and over and over.
Yeah.
That makes me so sad.
Well, on a bright note, do you want to end with this one? It's like super short.
Sure. Okay. So, when I was 14 years old, I had an experience that would forever shape me. I had a sleepover at my aunt's house. My 4 cousins slept in a room across from me. Well, I slept alone in another room because there wasn't any room for us to fit. Around 3 a.m., I was woken up by an urge to open the door and leave the bedroom. I cannot quite explain what the urge was, but the best way I can explain it is being on autopilot. After waking, I heard a loud giggle. It sounded like a little girl throughout the entire house. The house was dark. There was no television on. I am a skeptic, so I really thought it was one of my cousins in the room across from me giggling. I went in the room and asked her to stop laughing. One of my cousins was half asleep and said, "She's asleep. What are you talking about?" I felt insane. I proceeded to tell my cousins in hysteria, "Oh my god, am I losing my mind? You don't hear that? It's a little girl laughing." Giggling continued. He hadn't heard it. I just took it as maybe I was too sleepy. Maybe I was hallucinating. There was a lot easier to believe than knowing that I heard a ghost in that house. So funny though.
That's also kind of cute because it's not like malevolent or anything.
Yeah,
it's just like a little girl, just like, hi.
Yeah, that could be so creepy though.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like if I heard a little girl like laughing in the middle of the night, I'd probably be freaked out. But yeah, well, I don't know.
So yeah, those are our scary stories.
Yeah, so send us your stories, please.
Yes.
And thank you. Whether it's true crime or paranormal. you can send that to our email at dreadfullytwistedpodcast@gmail.com, or you can comment it on our Reddit page r/dreadfullytwistedpod. Or you can also go to our social medias and also DM us there or comment on any video you see, which is Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dreadfully Twisted Podcast. And you can also listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora Radio, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Samsung Podcasts, YouTube, Listen Notes, and Podcast Index, in case you need other places to listen, or if you share it to your friends and family. There's a galore of places you can listen to it. So, and they're all free too. The only one that's not free is Apple. I'm not sure how that works. I know there's subscriptions and stuff, but that's just like, to help us out and stuff. So you don't have to, but if you choose to, is what I'm saying. And if you could please share the podcast, and comment on any platforms that have the ability to comment.
Rate us 5 stars.
5 stars on all platforms, please. Yes. And please share it to your family and friends and help us get the podcast out there. You can, on Spotify, there is a question at on the episodes asking what you thought about it. So if you could just fill that out to let us know, that would be great, because that helps us know what you guys want to hear and stuff. So
we love you.
We love you. Stay positive.
Be a good person.
Look out for your friends.
Be nice. Don't be like these people that we cover on our podcasts.
Yeah. Takes nothing to be kind to other people. Takes no money. Just
$0.
Even just smiling at somebody. You never know.
Make their life complete.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And be a good person. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.